We are recording. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Thrasher's Paradise. I am the Thrash man himself, the creator Colin Sterling, and today I have via Skype from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Hyperion from the band Cell. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Enjoying my day off. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Note, we are making history. You are the first ever black metal band to appear on the channel. How does that feel?
That's pretty cool.
So what role do you play in the band?
So I'm the guitar player singer, and I do a lot of I pretty much do all the manager part of things, like booking and all that stuff as well. And I write all the concepts for the band as well. So yeah, any weird questions you have about what the hell's going on in the albums, and ask me.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to start off with a simple question. You just released a brand new single this year. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry. What is it?
God of the Nether Realm.
That's right. God of the Never Realm. What was the inspiration to write that song?
So that song meant a lot to me because at the time when it was written, I wrote it in one day because a friend of mine who I was really close with, he passed away at the time. And he actually was stuck on life support for a few days in the hospital in the ICU, and if I felt him not there, but also his body was there. So for me, the best way to feel better and like let it out was to cathartically write a song about it. And I actually wrote about how he was in essentially the in between, and essentially took the throne of the god of the nether realm, and he became the god essentially. So within his death, I tried to find a way to make it work with our concept and immortalize him, because he loved being the center of attention and being in the middle of the party all the time. So it was a cool way to kind of do something good with a . shitty situation.
That's awesome here, and I like to say sorry for your loss.
Life, man. Like that.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, you did release a new single this year. When can we expect for you guys to release your new album?
New album's actually coming up, man, in a month, October 4th.
Oh.
We're going to be blasting a bunch of stuff pretty soon. We're going to be doing another single probably in a week or two, roughly. And then, we'll be doing October 4th will be our release date while we're on tour, actually, in the U.S.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're a month out from releasing this new album. How much pressure is on from you and the rest of the band?
Well, it is a lot of pressure, especially with the U.S. tour coming up. Like that itself was so much work to book when you're doing DIY. You don't have like an actual booking agent, and you have to contact all these multiple contacts, and finally you get the right contact after 7 people, and then they might hook you up with an okay show, or they hook you up with an awesome show and you get lucky, right? Yeah. So that was probably the most stressful part. All the recording and everything, that was easy for us. Like we did that back in December actually. So it's been done for the last half a year at least. And I'd say the most of the stress has just been within the tour itself, but the album, I'm all good.
Excellent. Is this your first time heading down south to the States?
Yeah, it is our first time in the States. We've done Canada about 6 times now, like going across it. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked to go down. We're going all the way down to Nashville, and we're playing a bunch of shows. And then going back up the East Coast all the way to Brooklyn, and then coming back into Canada. And then our last show on the tour is actually with Immolation and Blood Incantation in Winnipeg.
Wow.
And that'll be a big one here, so that'll be pretty fun. Yeah.
Awesome. So what kind of bands are you going to be performing with down in the States?
It's been pretty... It's leaning towards a lot of just extreme metal. I find like a lot of people in the States don't like mixed shows. like me personally, I don't care. I'll play with a skate punk band if I want to. You know what I mean? Like I liked mixed shows, so like it's not a big deal to me. But I noticed a lot of a lot of promoters were trying to stick me with only black metal bands and stuff, and I was just like, all right, that's fine. Like, I'm sure people will be stoked for that, but also I don't care if it's mixed. You know what I mean? If anything, you get people that never heard a black metal band before, and they're like, wait, I kind of like this. You know what I mean? And they start getting into it, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I will say that there is like a few cool shows that we were playing down there. Like, we jumped on the Cerebral Rot Fetid show in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
So that's gonna be a cool one. And I'm trying to jump. I think we got a Ronzi Pazuzu show, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, there's some cool stuff happening.
All right. Now, what makes your black metal band different compared to other black metal bands?
We tend to not stay stuck in a cookie cutter writing process. Like, the best thing about being in a concept is you have to follow the concept. So that means you can't just keep on bringing back the same riffs over and over again. You know what I mean? You have to make it work with the whole storyline throughout the whole album when it flows. So essentially, with me, I'm so everywhere with music that we have our base black metal roots there, but I really like having old school death metal and thrash and doom and hardcore riffs like within all the heap of the music, and I also love really atmospheric, psychedelic like cleans too. So I try to incorporate all that into one band.
Excellent. Now, you guys released your first album back in 2017. What is
20.
Oh,
Yeah, it's all good.
I messed up. Okay, so you have two albums?
This will be our second album, yeah.
Okay, great. Still trying to get my facts right now. So what is the biggest difference between these two albums?
Well, the first one's a little bit more I'd say it's more raw. It's got more raw riffs on it. A lot of like the style's still there within the second album. Like, there's all the consistency still there, but I noticed that we wanted to go for a more more polished sound in this album and have put way more time into the production. And as far as the concept goes between the albums, the first one is about the main characters, the main beings of this galaxy. They're kind of like we'll say Kryptonians or Saiyans, essentially, going planet to planet and taking DNA from other beings and essentially trying to make themselves a super race. And their own planet got blown up by themselves, like essentially where we're going right now. They just destroyed it and absolutely nuked it up. So they moved to their own moon. That's why it's called the frozen moon of Erebor. They moved to their moon and kind of started living there and, going really, really techie and creating crazier spaceships so they could use wormhole technology, all this trippy shit. And the second album, the way that flows from the first one is in the top left corner on the cover of the album, you can see the Erebothians ship. And then under it is the planet Zarbos. And Zarbos is essentially like a pagan land planet where there's people living off the land. They're using black magic still. And then there's an alternative race that came and essentially took over the planet. And I use that as essentially a metaphor for what's happened to indigenous people in North America, how the Europeans came over and colonialism and a lot of genocide and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I try to make real life happen within our concept, but without saying anything about it. it's all like a comic book. And yeah, that's essentially the pagan people in this second album are trying to overthrow the rich, evil race that's destroying their planet. So yeah, that's what's up.
Awesome. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you guys are from Winnipeg. How big of a black metal scene is there in the Peg?
We got a handful of bands there's Wilt. Wilt is pretty big atmospheric black metal band right now. we got a band called Noir. They're very like dissection-esque. Like they really love the melodies and like stuff like that. Amazing band called Ocipic. They actually toured Europe, played shows with like Campfire and like a bunch of big black metal bands out there. They toured with the band Neguro Abundant from I think it's from Romania.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah. So they're doing well, and we actually did a tour with them in 2017 across Canada. Good friends of ours, and and then a few other bands as well. A lot of blackened bands. We have a big grindcore scene actually here.
Really?
Oh yeah, totally.
Wow.
There's a band called Archagathis from here, and they're like a mincecore band, and them and Agathocles are pretty much the ones that like started that kind of grindcore. And essentially it's like a left wing like anti like fascist anti-Nazi kind of like grindcore style, because there's a lot of grindcore bands like Anal Cunt and all those bands that are like kind of like
Yeah.
doing pretty horrible lyrics, like sexist and racist and all that stuff. So it's pretty much them saying fuck that to that kind of music, but still doing grindcore. Yeah, so we have a like pretty crazy grindcore senior. It's like a good 8 to 10 bands consistently playing a lot.
Awesome. Now, on top of that, how big of a metal scene is there in Winnipeg?
Pretty big. It's like we regularly have shows weekly. Like we'll have like a handful of shows through the week. Sometimes they get booked the same day, so people have to split off and go to which show they want to go to, and if we have like a big show, like for example, Manitoba Metal Fest, that's one of our bigger ones. We'll get like we'll sell out the Park Theater here, and that could hold like 550 people around there.
Wow.
And then even bigger shows, it goes up to 1,000, or whatever, right? Like there's people that hide under their rocks, and then there's like the good like faithful people that come out all the time, like the diehards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, I wasn't expecting that from Winnipeg, not gonna lie.
it's a big music city, man. Like aside from metal, like there's so many big bands that have actually can't come out of here. Like Comeback Kid's a massive hardcore band, like a hardcore punk band, and they tour the world, and they're from here. And there's a lot of bands like that. They're from here. Propagandy, that's a big punk band from
I've
here.
heard of them, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah, yeah, man.
insane. What is the dream place for Cell to perform at?
Oh man, pretty much just going through Europe. I really want to play Japan. I really just want to tour the world, to be honest. But like, yeah, going through Europe, playing like Norway, Sweden, then eventually getting to a few places in Asia. Like, love to play Asia. That would be so fun. But Japan's a big one for me, for sure.
Awesome. Who's the dream band to perform with?
Oh, that's a hard question. uh, Emperor. Emperor would be.
Oh.
Yeah. I'd say Immortal, but like I don't think they're going to be playing live anytime soon because Demonaz doesn't play live. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
And maybe Abath?
I would love to, man, but that's I feel like my facial structure is so similar to his. That people like, the second album, I attempted to make my makeup not even look like his and like change it and stuff. But I just have the same kind of facial structure, so it turns out the same in the end. And I'm just like, yeah. But I would love to play with him off these. He's definitely a big influence musically and everything, man.
Awesome. As you mentioned earlier, you have toured across our country of Canada. What city in Canada shocked you the most?
Like for like a scene, like a metal scene, or
Yeah, but more or less, I mean, like, what city were you not expecting there to be as many people there, and then they just surprised you?
Halifax, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we played Halifax years ago, and it was packed. It was packed to the back in this cool pub place, and it was like pretty big. Like I was impressed. It was a Thursday of all things, and yeah, there was just like a bunch of people moshing and stuff. It was fun, man.
Oh wow, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, you do have some Canadian dates set up for this little tour you're doing after you finish through the states. Where are some of those Canadian cities?
So our last date of the States is October 10th, and that's going to be in Brooklyn. And then we're going to go over the border and play on the 11th on the Friday. We're going to be playing Montreal at the Piranha Bar.
Ooh.
And then on the Saturday, we're going to be in Quebec City and pretty good friends with the dudes in Outre-Tom. And we're going to like set up our stuff in their basement there and actually like do a house show. And it's going to be after the death metal barbecue. That's like a big fest kind of show thing they're doing on the Saturday there. And I'm pretty sure Outre-Tom's playing it. So after that fest like party thing, we're going to have a house party and we're just going to play their basement and they're going to play as well. And that'll be probably one of my favorite shows on the tour. The Sunday we're in Ottawa playing a place called Avant Garde. And then the Monday we're playing Sudbury in at the Asylum. And then driving back to Winnipeg. And then we got that show with Immolation.
Awesome. That sounds like a nice little Canadian tour right there. Okay, I gotta know. How metal is Saskatchewan?
It's okay, so for a long time I had problems booking there. It was just there was never bands weren't available and it was just really hard to book there for a long time. Eventually some friends of mine in the band Cythra, they booked their CD release and a local band Vathic jumped on that CD release with us, and we had a crazy show. It was in Regina, and it was like an all ages, and yeah, so many like kids were out moshing and circle pitting, and a bunch of like older people that were in the scene for a while there. It was good, man. And then we're actually coming back in December, like the week, like pretty much the weekend before Christmas.
Oh wow.
So that'll be pretty fun.
Have you given that show a name?
The one that's happening in December?
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to technically announce it yet because it's going to be a week or two or something like that. But there you go. We're coming back.
Awesome. Now we're at the point of the interview where we stop the questions and we play a little game. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. So the game is called Thrasher Trash. It's a very simple game. I'm going to say either a band song or album, and you let me know if you like it, thrash, or if you don't like it, trash. You don't need to explain your answer, but if you feel the need to, go right ahead, okay?
Oh, that's a simple game. All right.
I make it simple because I don't want to put effort into making a game.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start off with some black metal legends from Poland. Behemoth, the Satanist album.
Thrash.
As you mentioned earlier, Emperor.
Thrash anything from Emperor.
And I would be insulted by myself if I didn't mention probably one of the first bands to start the whole black metal genre, Mayhem.
Thrash, yeah. Yeah, Mayhem's great.
Awesome. Now we're going to ask one last question before we ask the final question. Out of all the bands I mentioned, to you personally, which one do you draw the most inspiration from?
Oof. That's really, really hard. Does it have to be a metal band?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Ever since I was a kid, I feel like I drew the most inspiration from Pink Floyd, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why we have a lot of weird clean parts and stuff like that. Like, I love the psychedelic, like, weird concepts they do, and like, there's nobody that can play like David Gilmour. He is his own style of playing, and his finger tone itself, you can't replicate it. So I'd say between Pink Floyd and like, whoa, that's a hard one. Pink Floyd and yeah, Emperor and Immortal. Like all those, like all three of those bands are like my main draws of influence, I'd say.
Excellent. Now it's time to ask the final question. We call it the poser question. It's to ensure that the person we're interviewing is not a poser.
Sweet.
Okay, this question does come from a movie, and if you get the movie correct, you get bonus points as well.
Okay.
The question is simple. Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Obviously, Lemmy. What movie is that? I totally know that movie. Oh, what movie is it?
Airheads.
Airheads. Yeah, I was thinking Adam Sandler the whole time. I was like, man, I knew it. I knew it.
And the correct answer was, it's a trick question. Lemmy is God.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
pardon?
Steve Buscemi says that part, right?
Damn right he does.
That's awesome.
Well, Hyperion, thank you so much for a great interview. I definitely look forward to having you and Cell back on the channel if that's cool.
I'd love to. Definitely.
Hell yeah, man. Everyone at home, make sure to check them out on Spotify, Bandcamp, Instagram, Facebook. It's under Cell and
Void or Cell Official. It's usually Cell and Void though.
yeah, Cell. I found out the hard way.
Cool.
But ladies and gentlemen, until next time, keep on thrashing.
See you later.